Hey friends, come on in and type in freedom now. It is Monday, February 16th, and we're going to have our live Freedom Now show together over the next hour. I will cover some breaking immigration news in addition to some Q&As from you and some good news stories. So come on in and type in freedom now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe in freedom, we believe in peace, which we all need a little bit of these days. We need some peace, and experience matters, guys. At McBean Law, we believe that you deserve to, thank you, you deserve to have good, solid legal representation during troubling and challenging times like these with immigration. So you can reach out to us at 914-898-9488. Come on in and say freedom now. It's wonderful to be with you today. I see that everyone is on here on McBean Immigration TV, Facebook. Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to Instagram and TikTok. Double tap the screen if you're joining today on TikTok and Facebook. Do me the favor and share this live session with your feed. I see you. You guys are coming in loud and clear, of course, as usual, the Facebook family. Friends, we have a lot of good information that we've been sharing with you over the last, I would say, few weeks, really. So you really have to tap in by subscribing to our newsletter at mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe. mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe, and you'll get our weekly newsletter with news, immigration news, tips. We answer your Q&As also via email. And what else do we send out? Good news stories. And from time to time, you'll get emails from me directly about things, important things that we're working on that you should know about that could help you as well. So subscribe today to our free newsletter. Now, a few things is, things are happening, guys, with immigration. Things are moving. And let's start out with maybe what's not moving. Let's start out with the breaking news that DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, is currently in the middle of a shutdown. Guys, you might have heard that the agency, DHS, is battling it out on Capitol Hill with lawmakers about the funding that was approved for them in the big, beautiful bill several months ago. And Congress is making an attempt now to kind of claw back on some of those promises for funding because ICE had gotten way out of control and Border Patrol had gotten way out of control in Minneapolis. And so lawmakers are demanding, and this is Democrats demanding basic things like a judicial warrant before entering someone's home if there's not an exigent circumstance or an emergency or they're chasing someone, you know, just give a judicial warrant as our law says, right? Based on constitutional protections and other laws, a judicial warrant is required before you enter someone's home. And Republicans are now saying, we don't really need a judicial warrant. If we require a judicial warrant, it's going to really slow things down. Can you imagine the day actually has arrived when Republicans are making that argument? No judicial warrant is required to enter into the homes of these people and anyone's home. That's what's being asserted here by some Republicans. Now, the government shutdown started on Saturday morning after Democrats and Republicans were unable to come together on the funding package. Democrats, of course, have been slow to accept a GOP offer that does not address their main demands. By the way, we don't even know what this offer is. We do not know what the GOP offer is, what's on the table. We don't know if the White House is saying something like, well, let's make DACA permanent. How about that? Is that enough for you to give us the money, the funding? Do Are there any reforms that are meaningful on the table from Republicans as they're negotiating this right now. We don't know. We don't know. At least it's not being reported out yet what the Republicans, as of today's live session, what the Republicans are putting on the table in order to get the money to DHS. So Democrats apparently have rejected the White House's latest offer, which was on Thursday last week, with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York labeling it as not serious, plain and simple. We would like to know what the offer is. Help the American people to know what the offer is so that we can weigh in a meaningful way as well. So, employees, how does this impact federal employees? Because as you guys know, FEMA is also part of this. TSA is also connected to DHS, is part of DHS. Apparently, employees at TSA are working without pay, and they've been working without pay since Saturday morning. And according to DHS's shutdown contingency plan, 95% of TSA employees are exempt, which means that they will have to remain there working during a shutdown without pay. So that's something, right? The Democrats are just demanding some very basic reforms, which is really for ICE to go back to how they used to operate, right? Take off the mask, identify yourself, be reasonable, be professional, don't kill, do not kill US citizens. Just go back to normal. The American people could accept that and they want that. Just go back. You're law enforcement. We respect law enforcement activities, but just don't do what we've been seeing over the last several months. And that's what they're demanding. And a part of their demand is that ICE only conducts targeted enforcement, meaning that they know who they're going after, rather than these roving patrols where they're just stopping people randomly, asking them, "Are you from here? Where are you from?" Right? That type of practice makes a lot of people very nervous because it's just too much. It's too much. It's too much, guys. Now, there was something else that another colleague shared with me, with regard to the shutdown, the partial shutdown that went into effect on Saturday. Throws a lot of things off, really. Now, including the DHS's independent watchdog, the department's independent watchdog warning a lapse in funding could jeopardize several ongoing investigation. But with a lapse in funding for DHS, the Office of the Inspector General has been forced to suspend approximately 85% of its audits, evaluations, and inspections and other things, says the OIG office. So there's quite a bit there, guys. Please pay attention to what's happening on Capitol Hill. It really matters. It impacts people in a very real way. Speaking of Capitol Hill and impact, let's talk very briefly about the SAVE Act, which passed last week, the House of Representatives. Also breaking news that on February 11th, the House passed the Save America Act in a narrow 218 to 213 vote. Okay. This is something that, if God willing, if I have the time this week, we'll see. I don't know. I really want to spend time in a YouTube video about this topic alone. But today, what I want to share with you is that this legislation it's a voter disenfranchise. It will basically disenfranchise quite a bit of Americans from voting. I've seen the number of 20 million, and then I've seen 23 million Americans would be cut out from upcoming elections if this becomes the law. And they're really pushing aggressively, Republicans are pushing aggressively to make this the law, to disenfranchise quite a bit of Americans from participating in our electoral process. The SAVE Act would make it required that you show your proof of citizenship in order to vote, and bring that proof of citizenship with you on the day of the election. And they're talking about you needing to bring your original birth certificate and your passport, which many Americans, from what I understand, like 50% of Americans don't even hold a passport because they're not traveling internationally. And we're talking also about a lot of Republicans in red states. They're not passport holders, so they also would be disenfranchised. And other groups will obviously be disenfranchised. So this is a voter suppression bill, and it's really dangerous. Now, what I've seen over the years, the strategy with Republicans is this: that when they are really afraid of an election outcome, all that they do is just change the rules. We'll just change the rules. Let's just change it up. Change the rules so that we could get the outcome that we're seeking. That's what this is. Changing the rules because they know the data, they know who could put their hands on a passport tomorrow versus who cannot put their hands on a passport tomorrow. And so here we have this going on. So US citizens who are watching, you should be aware of this big push that is on the table now. It's on the Senate side for their consideration. And this is something you should watch very closely. It's called the SAVE Act, SAVE, or Save America Act, which passed the House on February 11th, last week. Let's see, guys. The other news that I think you should know about is the fact that DHS has announced the termination of TPS for Yemen, and it's going to be effective in 60 days after they publish this announcement in the Federal Register. Yemen has held TPS status, temporary protected status, since 2015. And DHS is now saying that that's no longer needed and that folks need to leave the US within 60 days. And if they don't, they will be arrested and deported. Now, Yemen, and we have some plaintiffs also from Yemen. Yemen is also on the travel ban list. Okay. So if you do have a case pending at USCIS and they're holding your case up because of this awful adjudication hold, consider our lawsuit that we are still onboarding until Wednesday, the 18th. Consider getting on board with that to get your case moving and back on track. Okay, so those are, and lastly, guys, one last news. Borders are said, Tom Homan has said that 1,000 agents have left Minnesota and that only a small force remains. Okay, only a small force remains. And, there's a lot of distrust that they have sowed not only in Minnesota, but across the entire nation. So there's a lot of doubt about whether this means anything and whether they're going to just be on to the next city after they get their money. Okay, so we'll just have to watch and see, and we'll see if the Democrats will really hold out the funding and for how long. Now, with that being said, friends, let's go into your immigration questions, and then we will wrap up with some good news stories that you have shared and that we have shared. I'm seeing a lot of questions about the 75 country pause on TikTok. There's a lot of that, a lot of questions. Thank you to all of the foreigners, people outside of the United States who are joining today. So with respect to the 75 country pause, that is a pause on the issuance. I don't know, maybe that is not the right word in this context, but it's the pause on immigrant visas. Giving out immigrant visas by U.S. embassies and consulates from these 75 countries. That pause is still in effect, and we actually Saturday we launched our onboarding for the lawsuit, and we're targeting 52 of those countries. And I've explained in yesterday's live session on YouTube and Facebook why that is, and it has to do with the travel ban. travel ban countries are not going to be part of this lawsuit that we're doing because the U.S. Supreme Court has made it clear that the president has a lot of power over and authority over foreign relations and national security issues and had green lighted various travel bans in the past. And so we wanted to ensure that whatever plaintiff, whoever we are able to represent through this lawsuit, that we could really help. And our basic ask and request in this lawsuit is that it will compel the U.S. Embassy and consulates to issue your visa if you're approved, if you're approvable. If you've given them a case that has that is approvable, that on the merits of what you've submitted, then they should just approve it and give you your visa rather than place you in this indefinite, unknown hold. So that's what we have done. Someone is asking, how do you onboard? You onboard by going to our website. And if you're joining on McBean Immigration TV and Facebook, you'll see the link here. And my colleague is putting it also in the chat for you guys. But it's at McBeanlaw.com/75 countries pause. Just go to McBeanlaw.com, and on our homepage, you will see a link that will take you directly to the lawsuit. If you're joining on Instagram, on any of the reels that we share, you can just comment the word visa, and we will automatically DM you the link to learn more about the lawsuit and how to join it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go over to some comments on this side, and I'll keep up here on the screen the link to the website. Thank you. Let's go up. Freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. Thank you. Let's go down. I'm only looking, by the way, for questions. Okay. If you have comments, please just reserve those comments because they flood. They're a little distracting, so be careful with your comments. Someone is asking, can we make, and I'll just put this here, can we make a payment plan to join the lawsuit? My spouse is from Jamaica. All of the documents are approved, and we're waiting on our interview date. You could go ahead and make your payment on our website. We're still trying to determine whether we're going to open this up for payment plan process of 50% down now at the time of you submitted your plaintiff eligibility form, and then the other 50% by a certain date. Our team, we're actually looking at doing something like that, but it's not finalized yet. We have to look at all of the factors there. So just stay tuned for more. If that does happen, we will update our FAQs on our website. Okay. Type in freedom now, double tap the screen if you're joining today. Do you think they will renew TPS for which country? And I don't think that this government is going to renew TPS for any country, by the way. So they're trying to end TPS, it looks like, for every TPS country. Okay. Let's go down. What if you're documentarily qualified, okay, and your priority date has been current for the last 2 years, and you're in the F1 family-based category, and you're from Guyana? So, if Guyana, I don't know if Guyana is it part of our 52? So the folks who we're allowing, okay, the folks who Guyana is not on our list here, okay? The folks who we're allowing into our lawsuit are individuals who, at a minimum, are documentarily qualified at the visa center. And that's a very important point to reach, okay? Once you reach that point, it means that the ball is in the government's court to give you a date for your interview. And so if your case has not reached the documentarily qualified stage, this lawsuit is not for you. And then also, if you're here in the United States and you have have an I-601A waiver that was approved, or also the I-212 waiver that was approved, and you're going through the NVC process, and your case at the NVC has reached documentarily qualified, but you cannot go any further because of this unlawful ban that's in place, or pause that's in place, then you could also on board to this lawsuit. Thank you. Freedom now, guys. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. Let's go. The wait-in period for VAWA is 3 to 4 years. Okay. Hey there. Good to see you guys. Let's go down a little bit. I have an asylum case in New Jersey that was filed in 2017, but I don't have an interview yet. Well, stay tuned. It's coming up because I do know that from what I hear from my colleagues that New Jersey, Newark is moving. The asylum office is moving. So what you should really focus on at this stage is preparing your facts. You've got to know your facts very well. Your asylum case was filed many years ago, and you don't want to get this one wrong, and have an attorney look at your case to see whether it could be, you could add additional evidence to support your position. Okay, thank you. I don't know when the visa pause will be removed. I don't know when it will be removed. Okay, let's see. If you've applied for a green card as a refugee, it had been over a year. It's shown that it's still processing. What can you do? You should know that we would firstly look to see what country you're a national of, because that makes a big difference. There's a pause at USCIS on all benefit applications for nationals from 39 countries. And they're also conducting what they call a comprehensive review of all these asylum cases. And the public is kind of in the dark about how they're doing this, and what the consequences really will be for with respect to this review that they're doing. So there's a lot of things happening internally, from what we understand, that could very well be impacting your application. Thank you, guys. Double tap the screen on TikTok. If you're joining in on McBean Immigration TV, type in Freedom Now. And if you feel like you're thinking enough is enough, you don't like what you're seeing with immigration, and it's time to push back, go ahead and type in Enough is Enough too, like those from yesterday. Does this help those who are in consular processing? The lawsuit that we're preparing is targeting individuals who are going through the consular process. Let's see. Is it safe to reapply for deferred action? So we're submitting still, Laura, our application, our packets for deferred action for people who have a serious medical condition. We're doing medical deferred action these days. Certainly if you have DACA, you should definitely file your renewal and file it super early, way in advance, because it takes a very long time to get it renewed for many people. So yes, deferred action is still something that one can seek. I need your number, please. So the number is scrolling on the screen, and it can be found on all of our platforms. It's 914-898-9488, and we're putting it in the chat as well. Zambia is on the list. Zambia is on the list as well, unfortunately. How can I get a copy of my I-94? You could file the form I-102. Or you could also submit a FOIA response, a request to USCIS, but I would say the form I-102. I have my oath ceremony. My oath ceremony was canceled, and I think the person said Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken. Did you say Zimbabwe? And just so you know, guys, the government has been canceling oath ceremonies, okay? Oath ceremonies Zimbabwe is on the list of 39 travel ban countries. Oath ceremonies for individuals from one of those 39 countries. And it's so unfair to you. Go on our website, McBeanlaw.com, to find the link to consider joining the lawsuit, our 39 country lawsuit. Let's go down to your questions here. When are these travel bans going to stop? Should we expect this for the next 3 years? I would say yes, expect it for the next 3 years, because the intent is to really pause all immigration, legal immigration specifically. The government is trying to pause it from all sides. Those who are coming in, the inbound folks, inbound, and certainly they're focusing on outbound, right? Deportation. And then those here in the United States who are following the rules and going through the proper channels, they're coming up with all these clever policies to squeeze people and to put them in a corner and force them to be in a corner that would prevent them from going any further. So that's the whole grand scheme of things, guys. Inbound, outbound, and then squeeze those who are here even more. So I don't know if that's paints the picture to you about what U.S. immigration is like today, but I hope that it did actually paint that picture. Let's see. My first super chat question says there has been a few instances where people's license license plate was ran and then were stopped and arrested. Do you recommend that people with license not register their cars in their name because of this new practice? Are you asked? Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot that thousands of people are watching across all platforms. I'll say it this way. Um, you need to follow the law of whatever state you're in, and that includes the driver's license and insurance laws of whatever state you're in. I cannot advise, and I will not advise or provide a tip to anyone to do things other in a unlawful or illegal way. And so follow the local laws and state laws regarding driver's license and insurances and registrations and all of that. That question kind of you woke me up there. Thank you for waking me up. Someone is typing in the word visa here on. I see it here on Facebook. Facebook, the link for the lawsuit is something that is clickable. We're going to need to, after this session is over, we're going to make sure that the post, it has the link there specifically for you, okay? Someone is asking, what is the cost of a consultation? It's easy. It's $300 for my colleagues, $399 for me. And we're not, I don't necessarily think it's a great idea. You don't have to book a consultation to ask a question about the lawsuit. Consultations are not for that purpose. Consultations, unless you're thinking you'd like to have a lawsuit on your own, not as part of this group multi-plaintiff lawsuit. Consultations are for people with a real immigration need and problem, and they're looking to hire a law firm to help them through that problem. Those are the individuals we really prefer to see show up on our calendar so that we could maximize our time and help as many people as possible. If you have a question concerning the lawsuit, check the website, read it carefully, read our FAQs. It's entirely automated, and we provide a lot of information already. We're not answering questions about your individual case, okay, for this lawsuit or any lawsuit that we do that is a group lawsuit. If you'd like to hire us to work on the underlying case, you can do that after you meet with us. All right, let's keep going, guys. Type in freedom now, freedom now. You guys have great questions today. Thank you so much. Let's go down here. Freedom Now. Okay. I do not have any update today on DACA. Everything is moving very, very slowly with regard to that DACA lawsuit. Okay, go down a little bit. Can I join the lawsuit even if my mom I'm sorry. Can I join a lawsuit even for my mom, even though her case was refused on January 28th? She's from Cameroon. She was documentarily qualified. Yes. So if you had received a visa refusal letter after January 21st, 2026, which is the date that this pause went into effect, you're eligible to onboard. If you had received a visa refusal letter at any other time before then, and you're just in this administrative process in phase 221G, you could also join this as well, because now that you're able to resolve things with the US Embassy, this lawsuit is in effect, which is hindering you from moving your case forward. So that's, that's something to be mindful about. You could join the lawsuit. And let's keep going. And let me just go ahead and do this thing here. Type in Freedom Now. Okay, let's keep going. I'm from Burundi. And I've submitted my I-485 last year. Am I affected by the pause? Well, if your country is on the travel ban list, which it is, I have my cheat sheet here, then you're affected by this pause. Okay, so it's unfortunate. Uh, let's see that they have so many countries on their various lists here. Can TPS holders from Haiti be deported? They can if they lose their TPS after committing a serious deportable crime, or they can be deported after TPS ends. Then at that point, the government can take further action against them. Double tap the screen on TikTok. Let's see. Great questions. Also, friends, tell me where you're joining from today. We love to know where you're joining us from. I keep getting the question about how long the immigrant visa pause for the 75 countries would last. I don't know. We don't have any firm answers from the government about how long they're keeping this pause up. And guys, just a refresher, the pause is because of their rationale saying that they believe these people might come to the United States and become a public charge. Okay, that's the reason for this, and get on, burden taxpayers. But again, public charge, there's a way to sift through the applicants and determine who will become a public charge or not. And then we also require them to have a sponsor. Everyone must have a financial sponsor in order to get a green card. So, this pause still, it just doesn't make much sense. Let's go down here. Someone is asking about, I think, the visa bond. So, as you guys know, there are quite a bit of countries, mainly African countries, that now have a bond of 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. It will all be the amount that is, you know, um, given to people to be obligated for. Is determined by the embassy in their discretion, in the officer's discretion, and they're going to want to hold that money until you return to your country without overstaying. I don't know when they're going to remove that. That could very well be a bond that's in place, a policy that's in place over the next 3 years. Let's go down. Um, is it true that Americans that American Embassy in Jamaica will be allowing visa to the United States for Jamaican citizens. So the embassies are still issuing non-immigrant visas, okay? Like Jamaican embassy, the embassy there in Kingston, if that's the one you're referring to, I think it is obligated to still issue tourist visas, business visas, and other types of visas, the K-1 visa. It's just that they cannot at this time issue the immigrant visa to those who are trying to get a green card. I'm not sure if I've answered your question. It was a little, it came into me slightly confusing. If you'd like to ask it another way, I'm happy to see if I could answer it. Is it possible to still be able to get a work visa after having overstayed your tourist visa? Someone on Instagram is asking. So you've overstayed and now you're trying to get a work visa. It could be possible. The one issue that you're going to run into or encounter is the fact that you'll need to leave the United States at some point to go to a U.S. embassy. And so then the question becomes, uh, are you going to be banned, which you will, based on unlawful presence? And if so, by how many years? Is it just a 3-year ban or is it a 10-year ban? And then the next question is, can you overcome it? Are you eligible for a waiver to overcome it so that you could return to the United States? That's the sticky point there that people normally run into. Thank you. Let's see. I've received an email from ICE to check in, but it does not have my name and address on it. Is it real? So if you said that you've received it, right? So um, you, I have not seen ICE send out any notification about coming in for check-in without at least, at a minimum, the person's name and alien number on it. So uh, that's strange to me that you said that you've received it without your name on it. That sounds uh, doesn't sound right to me. Do you still work? Do you still work on removal procedures? Yes, we do removal cases, and we have been getting quite a bit of them as the government is placing more and more people into the removal system. And this is a process that we do nationwide now. Before, we didn't have the ability to do it that way. Now we do. So you could reach out to us to see how we might be able to assist you. Thank you, guys. Double tap the screen on TikTok so that this live session can be shared with very many people. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, White Plains, New York. And today is Monday, our Freedom Now live show. And that's what you've swiped your way into. Thank you for the gifts. We have a wonderful team here at McBean Law working on complex immigration problems. And we have a couple of lawsuits that we're onboarding for to push back because enough is enough. And we would like to bring your problems as a group to the courts to help these judges to understand that you are being harmed and it's not fair to you. So if you'd like to learn more about our lawsuits, you could go to McBeanLaw.com and see what we're working on and what those deadlines are. I forgot to mention the deadlines. We have Wednesday, the 18th, February 18th, is the deadline to join our 39-country USCIS pause lawsuit. March, I believe it's 14th, if I'm not mistaken, is the deadline for the 75-country lawsuit, but we're only including 52 countries in ours. We're not including the travel ban countries in our lawsuit against the State Department. Okay, let's see. I do not want anyone to try to educate me on the U.S. Constitution in the comments, particularly when we all know that there are basic constitutional rights that we're all guaranteed under the Fourth Amendment, and against unreasonable searches and seizures. And then there's the 10th Amendment, which reserves the right of states to have various powers, including over elections and other state rights. So please do not try to educate me on the Constitution. Please, it's nice to see that you're engaged, but don't, please. Just don't. Okay, let's go. Um, is your firm able to file a lawsuit seeking a temporary injunction against the current immigration visa suspension affecting the 75 countries? So the lawsuit will, in fact, seek that temporary, the TRO. But what you should know is we're really going to ask it with respect to our named plaintiffs, those who are before the court with their collective problems, making an argument to the court. Okay. What about the SIDGE process? Does that still work? The Special Immigrant Juvenile Status? Yes, it does still work. It still works, and we're doing that process for young people who have been abandoned, neglected, and abused, and maybe they're here in the United States with only one parent. It could be a single mom who is raising the child or a grandparent. SIDGE can actually work to help that child get a green card and have a secure future in the United States. How many of you saw the video that was shared this weekend on TikTok of those children running? The security camera caught the footage of all of those elementary school children running at 8 o'clock in the morning because ICE showed up in their neighborhood and they were terrified out of their minds. Guys, we need to make that things need to change. That really disturbed me. And I think those of you who saw it, you felt it as well, to see those kids running for their life. They were running and so afraid. And I guarantee you, many of those children are US citizens. They were very young children and they were terrified that they were going to lose their parent if ICE showed up at their home. So they were running. This one little kid, he ran across the street, and I thought, how dangerous is that? Because he could have been killed by a car or hit by a car. And guys, we got to call our congressmen and women. We've got to do it and say, this is not right. Enough is enough. Stand up to what DHS is doing. Do not give in to what they're doing. Hold the funds until we get some real reforms. I had the number last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, to the Capitol Hill switchboard. I hope my colleague can find it for me. I think it was a 202 number, 224. I don't have it here in front of me. I'm asking my colleague to please help me out. Text it to me in Teams, okay? Text it to me in Teams so that I could have this information. I think it's the 202 need, and I might have it here on my computer. Let's go. Let's see. Okay. Once I get that information, I will share it with you guys. Okay, here it is, 202-224-3121. Let's add it to the chats, the comments, please, as well. 202-224-3121. Can you guys also do me the favor on Instagram and on TikTok? Type in 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Let's type that number in and share that number. Thank you. I see you guys are typing it in, 202-224-3121, and just follow the prompts. The automated system is going to ask you, what is the name of your member of Congress? And you say that name and you get over into that congressman or congresswoman's office or senator and say that I'm a constituent and I'm deeply concerned. Hold out on DHS funding until we see some real reforms from DHS. The number again is 202-224-3121. one. Let's go with that. And if you do not know who your representative is, just go on you could Google who is my representative, right? And Google will immediately connect you to the area where a website could be on, I believe it's the House of Representatives website. And you just put in your zip code, and it's going to tell you who represents you, who are your senators. There are two. And then who is your one member of the House of Representatives. And let's just get this information before them. It's actually better to call your senator's office because the ball is in the court right now of the Senate with regard to holding out on the fund. And so that's my little pitch right there for you guys to be engaged civic engagement. Let's go back to your Freedom Nows and your immigration questions. I see Miami, Florida is in the house. Tampa Bay, all right, is in the house too. Brooklyn, New York. Okay, let's see. I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And I'm petitioning my German-born husband, okay, for an immigrant visa. And he's going to need to go through the consulate in Frankfurt. Will the visa pause affect my husband? It just, this is a European country we're talking about here. What do they consider his nationality to be? That's the question. What is his nationality? The pause is connected to nationality. Okay. Now, if individuals have a dual citizenship, dual citizens are able to travel and can apply under the citizenship of their other non-travel ban country, and it will work out nicely for them. But always ask yourself, what is the nationality? That's what the government is looking for. Freedom Now, Jude from Port-au-Prince. Jude is my number one fan. My number one fan all the way in Haiti. Thank you, Jude. Now let's see. How beneficial is the lawsuit for those from the 39 countries? Chris, I'm not sure what you mean by how beneficial. What I can tell you is this lawsuit will compel USCIS to move on these applications to the end, not just say, okay, we're taking steps, we're actively working on the files. No, it is actually, we need to see some work permits, we need to see some green cards, and we need to see oath ceremonies and not people being taken out of the line at their oath ceremony. We need to see a naturalization certificate being issued. So that's what we're trying to achieve there. And I think if it works out, it will benefit those who are in the lawsuit. Okay, let's go to the next great question. If my priority date is not current, but I'm documentarily qualified, can I join the lawsuit? So, this is a interesting fact pattern that you have laid out here. I'll speak with one of my colleagues who handle consular cases to see her thought on this, whether it's even possible to be in this scenario. But in any event, normally, when one gets into that queue of waiting on an embassy interview, certainly they're documentarily qualified. And if you get in that queue and the U.S. Embassy is moving fast and good, and you can get a date for next month, well, you get that date and you go before an embassy at the interview, only for the officer to say, oh, it looks like you're not current yet, so we're going to have to push you back into the system. They don't want that to happen. They try not to allow people to get to that stage unless they are, a visa is available for them. Their priority date is current. But I will certainly share these facts with a colleague of mine to hear her thoughts on this. Maryland is in the house. Jamaica is in the house. Thank you. Are I-130 cases being approved these days? Yes, they are. And we're still seeing them as well. I'm currently on TPS for Haiti. Is there any update for TPS? No, other than the fact that after the judge in Washington, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, February 2nd, said that TPS can continue for Haiti. The government immediately filed a notice of appeal in the district court there in Washington, D.C., because they wanted to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. So expect the challenge to Haitian TPS to be something that that will be in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. 202-224-3121 again is the number to call Capitol Hill and get connected to your senator's office. And if a staff assistant does not answer the phone, then leave a message, because everything is recorded, and you're entitled as a constituent to contact your member of Congress and share your thoughts. Okay. As a matter of fact, our congressman's office is right across the street from our office. I saw him in the parking lot a couple of days ago. No, weeks ago. We were walking in together, and I said, "What's going on in Washington, D.C.?" He said, "Oh, we have a dictator there." I said, "That's that to myself. That's no excuse. No excuse." He said, he's a dictator in the White House." I said, "No, we gotta hear from you in a stronger way." Um, Guys, make your voice known. They're here to represent you, constituents. Join in from New York. Okay, let's go over to here. Do you know, and a super chat came in, do you know what's going on with the T visa? I sent mine in April 2024. I did my biometrics. I haven't heard anything. Are they still processing them? Yes, they are. They're still processing them, and they're also still issuing the bona fide determination and work permits connected to the T visa case. Things have slowed down. Under the humanitarian cases, guys, I keep saying it, and I really believe it. I don't think they're a priority to this particular government. So you're going to see slowdowns with regard to humanitarian cases. If the audio is still good, loud and clear where you're joining from today, please let me know that everything is good and you could still hear me okay. Good to see you guys. Come on in, type in freedom now, and enough is enough. Let's go back over here. Thank you also. I forgot to say this. Thank you to all of you who joined on Friday, last Friday, our webinar on legal options for immigrants, for Spanish-speaking immigrants in the U.S. That was Friday's session. And then on Saturday, we had a terrific session in Haitian Creole. Thank you so much for participating in those webinars. And we're very busy, but if we get an opportunity to do more webinars, we will be sure to notify you. So subscribe to our newsletter so that you're in the loop. Again, subscribe at mcbeanlaw.com/subscribe to get our newsletters. Thank you for all of the participants in our webinars. You guys are the best. Let's see. Is it advisable to apply for the I-601, okay, or I-601A stateside provisional waiver for I-140 approved, but out of status? So here you have someone who is trying to go through an employment-based process, and they're out of status. Overstayed a visa most likely, and you'll need the 601A for unlawful presence before you leave the United States. You'll need that waiver approved before you go to an embassy interview. Are people really getting detained at all of the asylum check-ins? Asylum check-in, I don't think there's anything called an asylum check-in. There's an ICE check-in. Are you under ICE's supervision? Some people are being detained, others are not being detained. There are asylum interviews. Some people are not being detained at those interviews, to my knowledge. I have not heard like a widespread problem about people being detained at asylum interviews. What's happening is if you're going to USCIS, of course, asylum interviews conducted by USCIS at the asylum field office, what's happening is if you have a record of fraud, meaning you had a case that was filed in the past and they've made the determination or have some notes or flags and you're connected to your alien number that you committed fraud, they do arrange a scenario in which they could set you up for an arrest. Or if you have a removal order and you're going in front of them, you've got to be aware that you might be arrested there. And then if you have criminal problems, right, you could potentially be arrested. So under those complicated scenarios, you should seek legal counsel before you go in for an interview. But there is no general, oh, people are being detained at an asylum check-in. Good question, though. My case is at the USCIS. I'm from Jamaica. Are they going to hold on to my case? USCIS is still processing your case. Okay, Jamaica is not a travel ban country, so USCIS is still working on your I-130. Okay, the I-130 for you. My siblings are Haitian, and they've been documentarily qualified. We're now waiting on an interview. Any advice, please? So unfortunately, Haiti is a travel ban country, and the government is not allowing them to get their immigrant visa at this time unless they could qualify for submit a waiver arguing that it is in the national interest of the US government to bring them here. And of course, that is hard to do if it's just a family-based petition process. Is there any given visa with regard to Sierra Leone? Someone is asking about Sierra Leone. Okay. Also a travel ban country. Okay, so they have suspended the visa issuance for nationals of Sierra Leone at this time. Can you provide information about lawyers in Georgia? Yeah, Charles Cook is a good lawyer, knowledgeable, well-respected attorney in the Georgia area. He is who comes to mind at this time. You could check out his firm. We don't know each other personally. I do follow him and watch his content periodically and see what he writes to the lawyers in our groups through Ella listservs, and he's pretty knowledgeable and solid. So he's the only one that I could say at this time that is in Georgia that I'm trying to think, is there anyone else in Georgia? Off the top of my head, that's the one that I would refer you to. Okay, let's see. Let's go. By the way, us immigration lawyers, there are, how many is it again? 6,000 of, oh no, a bigger number than that. Is it like 15 or 18,000? I told you guys about that big number a while back. There's a lot of us out here. And there's a lot more of you out there. And we can't, we're not hoarding all of the business here at McBean Law because we don't have the capacity for that. No lawyer does. It's just a big, big, big overwhelming need with immigration. So if I get an opportunity to offer a referral, I'm going to do it. Definitely. Let's go. Let's go down. Do we handle cases from people from Georgia? Yes, we do as well. We work on cases, all 50 states. Okay, all 50 states. All 50 states. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. How much do we charge? Someone is asking here on YouTube. So it's $300 for a meeting with my colleagues, excuse me, and $399 for me. I see that. Sorry, guys. When you put your hand so close to the camera, it's like, my apologies. TikTok was having an issue there that I needed to resolve. $399 for me and $300 for my colleagues. Okay, thank you very much for being here. Type in freedom now and enough is enough. And Elisa says, everyone, please go to her website. Yes, the website is mcbeanlaw.com, www.mcbeanlaw.com. Someone says in all caps, thank you for all your information. I finally got my green card approved. That is such good news. Guys, let's just say congrats, congrats, congrats. It's good to be able to travel and and be free. And with that, it's such a great segue. I want to share with you a couple of success stories that you've shared. Scenario Mara 5522 says, funny enough, today they went ahead and approved my I-130, and this is from February 6, 2026. My husband is in Uganda, a country which is on the list of the 75 countries. So this is a great illustration that one of my colleagues found for me today about someone whose I-130 U.S. citizen spouse I-130 approved at USCIS, but the national, her husband, is from a country that is subject right now to the visa ban, the immigrant visa ban, and this proves to you guys that USCIS is a separate agency from what's happening at the State Department, okay? So USCIS is still moving forward with these I-130s for a country like, Uganda here. Hold on. And Uganda, just so you know, um, Uganda is not a travel ban country, but it is a country that is on the list of immigrant visa hold at this time, pause at this time. So now what she needs is for her case to go over to the visa center at the National Visa Center. And then once it's documentarily qualified, they will place her in the queue for an interview, her husband to be interviewed. And then after that, he's going to go before the embassy for his interview. And the question is, well, when he gets in front of the embassy at that time, will they release a visa to him or not? And it will all depend on whether this immigrant visa pause is still in effect. Here's another one that's very similar. Attorney McBean, I was approved for my USCIS application. This is from KC Sim 5943. Attorney McBean, I was approved from my USCIS application and my case was forwarded to the National Visa Center. My wife is from one of the 75 countries that have been paused. And then a question is asked, is that what this lawsuit is for? And so the answer is yes, this lawsuit is for those who are documentarily, at a minimum, documentarily qualified, who are connected to this awful immigrant visa pause. So it's one phase in their process, it was approved, and then the second phase is being held up. So we don't think that's right, that people have to go through that. Okay. The third success story is from Maureen Mixie. You guys have gotten so clever with trying to conceal your identity, which is great. My husband had his immigrant visa interview this past Tuesday and was verbally approved. After the interview, the consular officer requested documentation for all prior court cases and returned his passport. So this person hasn't made it all the way through yet. They're almost there. It sounds like this person is in 221G administrative processing. And I don't know what country you're with, he's going through. If his country is not on the list of 75, then he should be fine moving forward. Okay, after he provides all of the prior court cases. Sounds like you might need you might need some legal help with that case. We had a wonderful, heartwarming success story that we shared yesterday on Sunday, and it's on our website, mcbeanlaw.com/success, about an 80-year-old woman from Ecuador who became a U.S. citizen. Friends, she was a permanent resident for many years, well, since 2018, and is from New York. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and dementia, and which made it impossible for her to really learn English. And even though she knew answers to the civics part of the test, her first naturalization interview ended in denial because USCIS found that her medical waiver was insufficient. Can you imagine? When she was scheduled for a second interview and felt afraid to go through that process again alone, she came to us for help, and we took a careful strategic approach. We reviewed, of course, her full record, confirmed her physical presence met all of the requirements, and we strengthened the documentation that was needed to prove her medical condition and prepared her for the interview. At the second interview, one of our attorneys went with her and addressed the officer's concerns directly and ensured that her disability exception was properly considered. So this time, her medical documentation was accepted and her N400 was approved. Today, at 80 years old, she is a proud U.S. citizen, and a reminder that with the right documentation and experience advocacy, a prior denial does not have to be the end of the road. What a way to end today. What a way to end. At 80 years old, she still wanted to become a U.S. citizen, and she pressed through. And we're so delighted that we were able to help her. Friends, thank you so much for being with me. Learn more about what we're involved in and how we're helping people all across the world. Go to mcbeanlaw.com/success. And also, consider the lawsuits that we have going. Go on our website. You'll see the links there for the USCIS lawsuit and the State Department lawsuit. We're here for you. Call us at 914-898-9488 for a paid consultation. If you missed earlier, you'll be able to watch it again on McBean Immigration TV on YouTube. Thanks so much for being with me today, guys. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.